Welcome back, everybody. No particular direction today, although there is one thing I really want to talk about, and that is dealing with being the weird guy. Here we go! Alright, everybody, let's just jump into it. First and foremost, I really have had a lot of trouble throughout the course of my life just being the odd man out, largely through my own actions, I suppose. And I brought a lot of that on myself. But I wouldn't necessarily call myself an outcast by any means. I had friends, but it wasn't like I had very few friends, and they were very close friends. I didn't ever really have big groups of friends, and that still kind of continues to this day. So that's definitely not weird by any means, but I also have dealt with this feeling my whole life, like I was just a little bit weird. I was a little bit out there. I wasn't like part of the normal crowd, and I was kind of like, sometimes I felt like I was looked down on because of that. As a younger person, that was a little difficult because you sort of want to fit in. But I think a lot of people go through that. As I've gotten older, I've realized like it certainly isn't just me that feels that way. But what I've also realized is that there was a little bit of truth to certain aspects of that. But that actually ended up being a good thing. The fact was I wouldn't have made a lot of the choices that I have made in my life, particularly leaving Colorado, where I spent the largest part of my youth, to go to Montana and fall in love with the place and meet my wife and be a Sigma Chi and graduate from film school and do all these things that have really helped define me as a person. I probably wouldn't have done that if I hadn't have felt that way. But what I really want to address today is that feeling of being the weird person or the odd man out, or like feeling like you're not part of the crowd. For anybody out there that might be struggling with that feeling, I just want to encourage you to keep doing your own thing. Ultimately, when you hit a certain point in your life, you're going to realize that those things that maybe right now in your life seem like they're troublesome or you wish you could change about yourself are ultimately most likely going to end up being your biggest strengths and being what sets you apart from others. So on that note, I just want to basically give people some encouragement. If you're going through a tough time, just remember that things always will and can get better. And there is always somebody there for you. I'm a firm believer in that. It's not always easy to go through those situations and feel like you're doing something different and like it's not working, and you want to feel like you're part of the crowd. But I will tell you, when it comes to the motorsports pro driving sponsorship thing, man, there's really nobody who's completely normal, if that makes sense. I mean, what is normal anyway? But there's really nobody who's completely like kind of normal and fits in with the regular crowd that is in the professional driving industry. I think everybody I know in this industry is pretty weird. I mean, if I look at all the people that I've met in this industry or done interviews with or whatever, like they're all individuals and they all have their own stories and very unique ones at that. So it's been really cool to see how different everybody in this industry is. But they all have one thing in common, and that is they want to spend their lives driving cars and around vehicles, and so they do anything it takes to do that. So what I want to challenge you to do is to take some of those things about yourself that you might be questioning and try to embrace them and see if you can incorporate them into your brand, because chances are the things that you might find bizarre about yourself, or you might feel are the weirdest things about yourself, or why maybe there are the reasons why you don't seem to fit in with maybe a crowd that you'd like to fit in with. Those very reasons could actually set you apart and make you a better opportunity for a particular brand. So just embrace who you are. I know this sounds kind of corny and I don't know, motivational speech or whatever, but honestly, embrace who you are, be honest, and just say, you know what, this is who I am, and I'm going to do the best to embrace it and share that with the world and be honest about myself, and I will go after brands that I think would make sense to fit with me. For example, if you are... I don't know. So there are certain people out there that do certain things, right? Like if you're into tattoos, all right? I'm just going to use this as a random example. I have one tattoo, by the way, so I'm not by any means saying anything poor about tattoos. But if you are the type of person that's into tattoos and you have like a bunch of tattoos all over your face, and maybe you have gauged ears or whatever, you're that type of person, good on you. But at the same time, you have to recognize that there are certain brands that will probably not want to be associated with you. There are also brands that probably would associate with you before they would associate with other people, right? And I'm sure we can all think of examples of that. You're probably going to be able to, no matter what your personality or your physical appearance is, you're probably going to be able to find some brands that will want to align themselves with you and where it makes sense to do so. So, excuse me, you can go the route that I've gone, which is try to appease to as many people as possible. But at the same time, I realized that being completely professional all the time really wasn't going to be honest all the time. And so I decided that I'm not always going to watch my language. And I'm not always going to be a perfect representation of my brands. I want to be, but I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be honest. And if a company sends me something, like for example, Grams, I'm wearing the t-shirt. I'm a big fan of Grams. They support me. I love them to death. Group A Engineering, Grams, and Skunk 2, whole deal. Like, they're great. They've taken really good care of me over the years. But if they were to send me something that broke, or several parts maybe that broke, and I was having issues with them, I'm gonna tell everybody. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell them. And the reason I love working with them is because if that were to happen, I guarantee you, I would bet my whole career that Grams would take the effort to say, we need to make this right. And we're going to make changes. We're going to take care of this. We're going to do things right, even if it's at our own expense, because that's the right thing to do. Those are the sort of companies that I want to be involved with, and that's why I choose to align myself with who I choose to align myself with. But you have to make those decisions, and a lot of times the things about you that are really going to stand out to a brand are going to be the things that you didn't expect, right? I have to be honest. I spent all this time building a program and trying to get my social media numbers up, and I was like, oh God, I feel like I gotta have like 10,000 people on. I don't know where I even got that number. I just randomly picked like 10,000 people as a number in my head on Facebook before I would even like contact a company, which was fucking stupid. Why did I do that? Point being, I just randomly decided this number in my head, and so that I didn't contact anybody until I had 10,000 likes on Facebook, and even then it didn't mean anything, right? So I was afraid that I didn't have the reach, and I wasn't going to be able to be legitimized to, I wasn't going to appear legitimate to these companies, and so I just decided not to approach them, and I shot myself in the foot by doing that, because ultimately when I changed halfway through last season in 2017, when I changed my plan and said I want to focus on content and I'm not going to finish the last 2 rounds of Evergreen Drift because it's just financially too much of a burden, and because I wanted to put the remaining funds towards content and doing other stuff, I called every one of my partners and I said, I told you I would be at these last 2 rounds. I'm hoping that you'd be okay with me not doing that and doing something else. And I also told them that if you want me at those last 2 rounds, I'm there. I'm committed to that. I told you I'd be there. I will be there. But here's what I'm thinking. And every single one of my partners, including Grams, including Dark Horse, and Clutch Masters, and Boostain, and a number of other great brands that have supported me, all said essentially the same thing. They said, you know what? We don't support you because you have a bunch of followers. We support you because we believe in you. And I have to tell you, that was one of the greatest moments, honestly, of my life. To have several companies tell me, like, even the words, I'll never forget it, when I called Grams specifically, and I kind of told them what I was thinking, and they said, whatever you do, we want to be involved. I can't tell you the value that brings, and that that comes from being genuine. That comes from being who you really are, and you will not find that if you are bullshitting and if you are trying to be something that you're not. So embrace who you are, even if it's stuff that you're not sure about. Just be who you are, and I promise you, doors will open for you. So anyways, guys, hope things are going well for you. Always remember, do what drives you. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and also shoot me a comment down below. Let me know what you're struggling with, because I want to make some content for you to help you be able to sign some more sponsors and build your brand a little better. So anyways, we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Take care. Bloop. Today I want to jump into a little bit of basically self-motivation stuff.